very important. Twin brothers Jesse and George are looking for a week-long winter break job. They are both offered jobs at grocery stores. Jesse offered a job at Fresh Foods, making $10 per hour. So $10 per hour belongs to Jesse. Okay. Jorge is offered a job at Groovy Grocery, making $8 an hour, plus a one-time hiring bonus of $100. Okay, so that's George or Jorge. Each twin believes that he have been offered the better job. Write an equation for each twin. So write an equation for each twin. That's our
attention, Andrea Mendoza. You left your backpack in room 4. Please come to room 4.
Amount
Andrea
earned
Mendoza for your backpack.
And H for the hours. H for the number of hours worked. Okay? So we know that. The equation for Jesse, this is the equation for Jesse. Jesse's equation is $10 per hour right here. Jesse's equation, $10 per hour. So we want, remember, per means times, so 10H, 10 times H, they say to use H for the number of hours, equals T for total amount earned.
Mr. Crumbs, please call extension 04 if you're still on campus. Mr. Crumbs, please call extension 04.
Equation for Jorge is he's offered $8 an hour, and same thing as A, so that means times or per, and hour means a hour each hour. So 8 times H plus a one-time hiring bonus of $100 plus $100 equals his total earning. Okay? Those are the equations. So now we substitute, or we input 30. This is the timed or hours worked. So we substitute hours worked for H. So that's 10 times H equals to the total. 10 times 35. If we use a calculator, 10 times 35 is 300. I shouldn't even need a calculator for this. Is the total of $350. Okay. And we're going to do all of Jesse's first before we do Jorge. So we have 10 times the number of hours Jesse worked equals, this is 10 times 45, which becomes $450. Okay, and then 10 times 50 equals 10 times, because he worked 50 hours now of overtime, it's $500. Or no overtime, that's another story. So 10 times 50 is 500, and this one, Jesse works 60 hours times, 60 times 10, so $10 an hour for 60 hours equals to 600. And the last one is 10 times 100 hours that Jesse's worked, makes $1,000. Okay, and that's how we get Jesse's wage. Now for Jorge, he gets $8 an hour, but he gets a $100 bonus, pretty good bonus. So we get 8 times 35 plus 100. Okay, 8 times 35. 280 plus $100 equals to $380. As you can see, he still makes quite a bit more, still $30 more than if you compare these two right here. Makes $30. Jorge makes $30 more than Jesse at $35 an hour. Next one is 45 hours. So we get $8 an hour times 45 hours he worked plus the $100 bonus. Okay, 8 times 45 is 360 plus the $100 equals to $460. And notice Jorge's 460 and Jesse is 450. They're getting closer to the same amount of money. Okay, so let's see, Jorge, $8 an hour times 50 hours plus a $100 bonus. 8 times 50 is 400 plus the $100 is $500 in 50 hours total. Oh, look, that's when they make the same amount. So when you graph these, that's where it should meet, at 50, 500. But we're not graphing today. I will explain that tomorrow. This is our, so up to 50 hours, Jorge makes more money than Jesse. Okay, so this is 8 times $60 plus 100. It's 48 plus 100 is $580. 8 times 100 plus $100 is 800 plus 100 is $900. As you can see, after 50 hours, Jesse start making more money than Jorge. That's what you guys need to do when you're doing this, is looking at, what's happening between the two people or the two company. Okay, and this one here, Ernesto earns $600 each week plus $18 for each hour. Okay, each typically means times, and there's a plus of overtime. Samuel earned $420 each week plus $30 for each hour of overtime. Write an equation to represent Ernesto and other equations for Samuel weekly, for Samuel's total weekly salary, S, if they work T hours of overtime. So we want to write an equation to represent Ernesto and another equation for Samuel for total weekly salary. Okay, because this they want weekly, we can get rid of each week. That each means per is gone. Each here is gone because they want your answer in weekly. And this T for the number of hours of overtime. Alrighty. So let's look at Ernesto. Ernesto, right here, earns $600 plus $18 of overtime. And T for time, not H, of overtime, and S for salary. Okay. Samuel is $420 for each week, plus $30 for each hour overtime. $30 each hour is of overtime. So T for time equals their weekly salary, S. Okay. Now, Ernesto's total earning, okay, is 600 plus 18 times this 13-hour of overtime he worked equals, let's see, so that's 600 plus 18 times 13 is equal to 234. That gives you $834. Or give him. Samuel makes $400, $420 weekly, plus $30 in overtime. So that equals his total salary each week. He worked 13 hours overtime, 420 plus 30 times 13, and make sure I'm right by using a calculator. 390. That should get me $810. 13 hours overtime, 810. Pretty close to Ernesto. Okay. Next one is 10 hours of overtime for next week. 600 plus $18 plus $10 of 10 hours of overtime equals to how much? That's 180 plus 600. That's 780.
Mr. Martins, if you're on campus, please call extension
Let's just
04.
do Ernesto.
Mr. Martins, please call extension 04.
So I don't have to go back and forth. Okay, he earned $600 a week plus $18 of overtime, and he worked 5 hours of overtime. That's 600 plus 30, 40, 90. 90 is 690. Okay. $600 of overtime plus $18 an hour for 20 hours of overtime equals to $360 plus 600, 960. Okay, $600 of overtime plus $600 weekly salary plus $18 per hour for 4 hours of overtime equals to 18. Okay, that is Ernesto's salary based on overtime work. These hours, remember, are all the inputting of overtime. Okay, now to find the output or dependent variable, 420, use the same color, plus $30 of an hour for overtime for 10 hours of overtime for Samuel. That's $300 more. That gives him a total of $720. Okay, now for $5 of overtime, $420 plus plus $30 an hour for 5 hours. He only worked 5 hours of overtime, so that's 150 plus 420 equals to $570 of overtime money. No, that's not overtime money is 150. Only the 420 is the other part. Okay? 420 plus $30 an hour for overtime, and he got 20 hours of overtime. That gives you $600 in overtime. Plus the 420, it gives you $1,020 altogether with 20 hours of overtime. A lot of overtime. Okay. So 420 plus $30 an hour for 4 hours of overtime gives you 420 plus 120 equals to 540 of overtime. Let's look. Is there anything close? Just analyzing what we did here. Okay, let's see. Still more. Aha. Looks like 20 hours is when Samuel starts making more than Ernesto. Okay, so that's from what I interpret from this graph. So around 20, probably 19, 18 or something like that. Need a graph to find out more exact. But we'll do that tomorrow. Today we're just doing the first part. Man, this takes... Okay. Anyways, let's finish this. Susan hairstylists pay their employees $20 per day plus $15 for each haircut. Each per. While Paul's hairstylist pays their employees $60 per day plus $25 for each haircut. Okay, plus their per and each means times. Write an equation as it relates to Susan's and a separate equations for Paul Daly's income. Okay, we can write daily income. Okay, that's important. So I know to eliminate daily, per day, and I know those don't count, per day. All right, so an equation for Susan. Equation for Susan is $110 plus $15 per haircut. They say H for haircut equals to the daily income. So for Paul is $60 plus $25 per haircut. That equals to their daily income. Okay, let's do this. Okay. 110 plus 15 times 2 equals to the daily. That's 30 plus 110. That's $140. Okay, so 110 plus $15 per haircut times how many haircuts? 13 haircuts. That was a busy day. Okay, 15 times 13 is I think we did this. 195 plus 110 is $305. They made that day cutting hair. Okay, it's 110 plus 15 times the number of haircuts. Oh, only 5, not a busy day that day. So that is 75 plus 110. That gives me $185. Okay, for 5 haircut that day. 9 haircuts. Okay, 110 plus $15 times 9. Okay, so 110 plus 135. It gives you $245 for that day. Okay, 11 haircuts that day, the next day, times 11. Okay, that's 165 plus 110. It gives you $275 that day for 11 haircuts. So 13 days, a good day. Okay, now for Paul's, we have $60 plus $25 per haircut. In his case, the haircut is 2 haircut for that day. Gives you 60 plus 50. It's $110. Okay, and then we got 60 plus $25 for haircut times 13. 25 times 13 is 325 plus the 60 is $385 made for 13 haircuts. Okay, and then 60 plus $25 for each haircut times only 5 haircut that day. That's 125 plus 60 is equal to $185 that day made. And you got 60 plus 25 per haircut times the 9 haircuts each day that day. So 25 times 9 is 225 plus the 60 is 285 for that day for 9 haircuts. And 60 plus 25 times the 11 haircuts equals $275 plus the 600. It's $875 altogether. Okay. You can look and analyze this and see when he started making more. It looked, oh look, made the same at 5. Very interesting. We're all done. Oh, that's 26 minutes, but of me explaining too, so you should spend a little bit less time. Don't worry about the interval and the graphing. We'll do that tomorrow.